When discussing what makes a great world for an action/adventure anime, we generally will go to basic examples, such as the overall structure to the world, such as visual aspects with the building and its architecture, history and the culture of the people, and numerous other important aspects that make for intriguing world design. But one of the most important areas that sets the boys from the men apart is the area that generally gets the least amount of attention, that being the fight mechanics if the series decides to make fight scenes a relevant aspect to the anime. Now, action isn't my go-to for entertainment, but if you nail it right, I'll love you forever. This week I want to go over a few series that I think nailed the fighting mechanics so well that it helped set them apart and stand above others in the medium because of the attention to detail that most anime will skim over. I'll showcase just how important strong fighting mechanics truly are for anime. To kick things off, let's look at Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. The main mechanic in this world is alchemy, the idea of deconstructing and reconstructing matter. At first glance, the fight scenes in Fullmetal aren't that different from anime you might have already watched. Some people use fire, control earth, it's basic anime fight scenes, right? But what makes Fullmetal have such engaging fight sequences is because of alchemy. Very early in the series, a viewer learns what alchemy is, the scientific technique in this world of understanding the structure of matter, decomposing it, and reconstructing it. You can't shoot fire out of your hand randomly. In order for something to be made, an object of equal value must be used, the law of equivalent exchange. There are some basic laws in the world of alchemy that must be followed, that being the law of conservation of mass and the law of natural providence. Conservation of mass states that energy and matter can neither be created from nothing, nor can it be destroyed to the point of elemental non-existent, with the second rule of natural providence states that the object or material made of a particular substance or element can only be transmuted into another object with the same basic makeup and properties of the initial material. So this stops any tomfoolery from taking place, and all bases are really covered. The viewer understands the basic laws of the land, how alchemy needs basic steps to be met in order to apply it, so when the anime introduces characters who break or bend these rules, we have come to know fight sequences, and the story overall becomes more interesting. Characters like Ed don't use summoning circles early on is a major aspect to his character and what sets him apart from others in this world and makes him unique overall. The same rules are applied when certain aspects like homunculus are expanded upon past what the laws of the world have set in stone and what we have come to expect from the anime due to the detailed explanations on different type of alchemy and what can and cannot be achieved. See, the brilliance of alchemy is it sets itself apart from everyone else immediately. You need summoning circles to use it. You can't create something from nothing. It's immediately given a scientific reason behind supernatural activities with a detailed yet not overly complicated set of rules that must be followed. So when you see characters fighting in ways that seem familiar at first glance, it still remains fresh and new because the viewer understands the basic law of alchemy from an early enough stage, which allows for far more intriguing fight sequences than most anime out there. Sure, alchemy has been used in other anime, but really only Fullmetal is the one that received the episode count to really flesh it out in a believable way. So other anime with similar principles can't really stand next to the series without it feeling out of place or underwhelming in comparison. No matter if a move feels familiar to past anime, because the viewer has a detailed understanding of the ins and outs of what's going on at any given moment, you feel like this is a series worth your time because action wasn't a second thought, but rather action in this world has a purpose due to its connection with alchemy, which is the crutch to the main story. Action is actually worth paying attention to. You can look at Hunter x Hunter and Nen, which is the technique that allows living beings to use and manipulate their own life energy known as aura. Same thing as Fullmetal. Some of the fight sequences appear to be familiar to other anime, but what Togashi did and did very well is give a detailed reasoning behind Nen, which helped set fights apart from other series at the same time, so much so other series had to copy him nearly page for page. You know who you are. Where Fullmetal went scientific with its fight mechanics, Hunter x Hunter went more spiritual, which allows for the series to explore training and awakening and power-ups in a fairly intriguing way. There are multiple areas of Nen to strengthen, such as the Nen of the Flame, which is the mental exercise that strengthens one's force of will. Since there are multiple areas to strengthen and focus on, each character in this world has different styles of Nen based on their personality and what they focused on for their fight styles. Just having characters jump around and shoot elemental blasts might be fun for a few minutes, but to invest dozens of hours into a series, the author needs to add depth to the writing past a character punches character A, character B throws a fireball. That's weak, and we need to stop that. Nen is one of the most fascinating aspects to Hunter x Hunter, and when characters weren't fighting but training with their connection to their aura, you never feel bored but rather intrigued to learn more about the fascinating mechanic. Like with alchemy to Fullmetal, Nen was the driving force to Hunter x Hunter. Taking a look at Soul Eater, the idea of the mechanics in this world come down to two people working together in order to fight. One is what's known as a Meister, the wielder of the weapons, and the second being said weapon. Some people can turn into demon weapons and then others wield them. It becomes this interesting bond mechanic as in order to truly be effective at your job, you need a deep connection between the Meister and the weapon. Will it be a simple tool relationship or will something deeper and more rooted in trust be built? Seeing how different pairs work together, the obstacle characters face always makes it feel unique based on the real-life relationship of the partners. It allows for fights to have emotional weight rather than just a scythe being swung at another person. The entire point of this mechanic is to make the viewer care about the real relationship between the partners and wanting to see how it will translate both in and out of battle. A weapon isn't just a weapon in this series, it's a person. Emotional weight is usually a good thing. Let's tackle something a little more recent, My Hero Academia. What this superhero battle shonen does exceptionally well is how it separates itself from other superhero-based stories. What ends up happening is the idea of quirks, which is a superpower that some characters will have, really sells itself as being something more than just a basic power for characters to use. The series doesn't solely rely on a quirk just being a power. It's an added addition to their body. If characters can't control a quirk, their suits are generally modified to make up for any shortcomings they might have. The quirks are physical attributes to the characters that need to be worked on and expanded upon. Some abilities might feel familiar to past superhero stories, but as the series goes deeper, you see some of the most unique and wild powers in all of superhero stories, like some guy being able to compress people into like disgusting meatball-looking things. It's weird. Or one of these characters can increase her IQ based on the type of tea that she drinks. It sounds stupid, and it is, but they actually sell these powers in the universe as something that can be useful no matter how silly it might seem at a surface level. One of my favorite characters, Todoroki, has the ability to both use fire and ice depending on which hand he uses. But if any one of these abilities are used too much, it wears him down, so he just needs to find the proper balance. Each quirk is a unique addition to the characters in the My Hero Academia universe, and the way the series starts exploring what makes a hero and how the general world views them sets itself apart from other superhero stories, despite maybe thinking at the first season you've seen this concept done before. Characters use their abilities in incredibly creative ways, like one of them, who is invisible, can refract the light in a way to blind people in battle. These aren't just one-trick ponies, it's a unique attribute that continues to evolve in interesting ways as the characters mature and get older. You can take any random action anime from nearly every season, and when you break down their fight mechanics, it's shallow. For my example, I'm going to use one of the worst battle harems I think ever made, Infinite Stratus. At first glance, you probably think, hey, this looks like it will go deep in the fundamentals of these suits that they wear, but no. You get basic info, and then when the girls aren't trying to blow the main dude, the fights are them floating around swinging some swords and maybe doing some flashy move at some point in time. That's most action-based series that you'll watch. And it's not always the worst thing ever, as if your characters and story is well written, that will make for an enjoyable watch. But if action is going to be a primary focus or aspect in the anime, then it needs to be deeper than just big sword and robot arms in order to become memorable down the line. The action mechanics should tie into the main story mechanics as well. There are plenty of other great examples like the chart-topping One Piece, JoJo, plenty of others. But these series that I mentioned managed to stick out either years later or sticking out currently after many episodes in the seasons because of how detailed the author made the fighting mechanics to its world. Too many series decide to just make a character control elements or give them a big sword to fight with and then they call it a day. But you need history, reason behind the things to a certain degree to let the viewer connect with the mechanic. You don't need to go midichlorian level with the detail, but letting the viewer understand alchemy is the scientific rules of life in this world which drives the story and characters forward, or how Nen is a spiritual aura manipulation and not some random mumbo jumbo. That stays in the viewer's head, so when we see characters fight, we have a deeper connection to what's going on without needing the author to hold our hand every battle with overly long and dragged out fight sequences where characters have to tell what they are doing every single time. Of course, this is only one aspect to an adventure/action series. You need great characters and personal motivations to keep it going, which all the series I mentioned have. But in order to keep the viewers engaged 100% of the time, it's important your fight sequences aren't basic bitches. Adding in extra detail, it really does go a long way, as when you get deeper in the episode or chapter count, you can continue to explore the mechanics, which helps keep the series refreshing instead of becoming simplistic because the main character is still just swinging a sword. But that's all for this video. Let me know your thoughts on action-based mechanics down in that comment section below. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content from little old me in the future. And if you want to be the MVP, head on over to my Patreon where you can directly support the channel and receive some pretty cool perks if you so wish. But until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.